How's Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo?
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford.
Yeah.
He's
the weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. Yeah. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No.
He went on the ring with Teddy Atlas.
What's that mean?
He said you're the most overrated Mexican champion in history. He said that Salvador Sanchez.
Boxeador mexicano.
Más
popular, pero sin causa.
Sí. Fucking crazy, that guy. and you think he knows boxing? Fuck.
In a recent episode of the Fight Podcast, renowned boxing trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas shared his insights on the highly anticipated showdown between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford Atlas. Known for his sharp analysis and deep understanding of the sport, broke down the potential clash, highlighting the unique challenges and advantages each fighter brings to the ring. With both fighters being among the best in their respective divisions, Atlas's breakdown offers a fascinating perspective.
We'll be more ready, but we're not. At the end of the day, the way that I made a decision based on whether or not I think I was right was that I had privately talked to the fighter, and again, he was a real fighter. He had the spirit of a fighter, the behavior of a fighter. He wasn't going to tell anyone no. He wasn't going to, because in their mind, it's cowardly. In their mind, you're not being a fighter. You're breaking the code if you say you're not ready. So they shouldn't have to be the one. I don't think they should have to be the one to say. Just like if it's a tough fight and the guy's getting beat.
Much anticipated fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is generating immense excitement among boxing fans. This potential super fight is expected to take place in late 2025, possibly around Mexican Independence Day in September at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The bout is shaping up to be a clash between two pound-for-pound greats, with Canelo reigning supreme at super middleweight and Crawford aiming to...
I've read somewhere that Canelo has shortlisted Crawford for the May fight, his fight in May. Dan, what's happening?
Yeah, listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, in a big time.
One of the primary aspects Teddy Atlas highlights is the weight difference between Canelo and Crawford. Canelo has been competing in higher weight classes, primarily at 168 lbs, super middleweight, while Crawford has historically fought in lower weight divisions, recently moving up to 154 lbs. Atlas expresses uncertainty about whether Crawford can handle the jump to 168 lbs, which is a significant leap. He questions whether Crawford, who has fought at 154 lbs, would be able to effectively deal with Canelo's power and size at super middle.
I'm saying at once.
Right.
I'm saying I started at 135. I mean, I'm just saying, like, say if Canelo was the champion at 147 to go up 168.
Right in one jump.
Yeah, in one jump.
It's a big jump too. 21 pounds. It's a lot of weight.
Malignaggi has also voiced concerns about Terence Crawford's size, suggesting that Crawford might be too small to effectively compete against Alvarez. Malignaggi believes that the significant weight difference could pose a serious challenge for Crawford, especially considering Canelo
Could beat CaneloAlvarez.
I think he's too small. But then again, I thought he was too small for Spence. So well, shows what I know. so I don't know. I think that's a lot of weight class jumping. But we'll see. It's a good talking point. I don't know that would really happen. Or, I mean, listen, we've seen some strange things in boxing. Don't get me wrong, especially in the recent years. So I don't say never. But I don't know how seriously that's going to be taken. But I think when you're at a level, when you come off a big win like Crawford just did, anything you say reverberates through the...
Edgar Berlanga also believes that Crawford's weight is the primary hurdle in a potential fight against Alvarez. Berlanga acknowledges Crawford's exceptional skill set and ring intelligence, but emphasizes that Canelo's significant size advantage at super middleweight could...
My good friend, my brother, TerenceCrawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't.
Atlas also contemplates the difficulty Canelo might face in trying to make 160 lbs, a weight class that would be ideal for Crawford. He notes that Canelo would likely be unwilling to drop down to 160 lbs, especially at this stage of his career.
I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and you never know what happened.
Yeah.
Instead, Atlas speculates that the fight could potentially take place at a catchweight, such as 164 lbs, though he believes Canelo would be hesitant to agree to such terms given his dominance at 168 lbs. The issue of weight is central to Atlas's argument, as it could significantly affect each fighter's ability to execute strategies and maximize strengths. Atlas also discusses Crawford's versatility, which he believes could give him an edge despite the size disadvantage. Crawford is known for his adaptability in the ring, with a multi-dimensional skill set that allows him to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw stances. This makes him a tricky and unpredictable opponent. Atlas emphasizes that Crawford's ability to adjust mid-fight is one of his strongest attributes. His movement, angles, and tactical intelligence could be key in neutralizing Canelo's power-based approach. However, Atlas doesn't underestimate Canelo, acknowledging his tremendous punching power, particularly in his right hand. Crawford, he suggests, would need to be extremely cautious and avoid Canelo's destructive shots, while using his superior ring IQ to outmaneuver the Mexican star. Controlling the pace of the fight and evading heavy power shots would be essential for Crawford to have a chance at victory. Additionally, Atlas draws an intriguing comparison between Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. He highlights Crawford's exceptional footwork, speed, and ability to close distance, traits reminiscent of Pacquiao in his prime. According to Atlas, both fighters possess a rare mix of technical skill and aggression.
Wins with everybody, and I agree with the two champions. I think he wins right now with the guys that are there. He carries his power well. He's moved up 3 weight classes. This will be the 4th weight class. He's carried his power with him. Punches are born, they're not made. You have power, you carry what? Pacquiao, we forget about a guy like that. He used to be a jockey riding horses, and the next thing you know, he goes bantamweight, he goes lightweight, he goes welterweight, he goes junior. I mean, he just kept going up. And what did he do? He carried his power, and he carried his speed, obviously, as the smaller man. Crawford carries his speed, he carries his power, and the most important thing is what's inside of Crawford. He's a special guy. He doesn't believe you can beat him. It's hard to beat a guy who doesn't believe you could beat him.
On a different occasion, Teddy Atlas remarked that Crawford brings a different dimension to the fight. He elaborated by highlighting Crawford's ability to adapt and strategize. in real time, making him a versatile and unpredictable opponent. Atlas praised Crawford's exceptional ring IQ, footwork, and ability to seamlessly switch between orthodox and southpaw stances. According to Atlas, these attributes set Crawford apart from other fighters and present unique challenges, even for seasoned champions like CaneloAlvarez. Atlas also emphasized Crawford's mental toughness and tenacity, adding that these qualities bring an extra layer of complexity to his fighting style, making him a formidable contender in any matchup. He further expressed concern about the mental and physical toll that years of fighting at the highest level can have on a boxer, a factor that could influence this matchup as well. Atlas pointed out that fighters like Canelo, who have been active for a long time, often show signs of wear and tear, which may affect their future performances. While acknowledging Canelo's extensive and impressive record, Atlas noted that the long...
You believe he'll even beat Crawford, right? I think you've said that before.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'd be very interesting. It'd be very interesting. I love Crawford. It'd be very interesting. Crawford is, you know, he brings a different dimension to it. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's tall and long, stepped up in weight classes, you know, and a guy who's a winner, a guy who's dynamic, but a guy who goes about his business in a different way, where he controls range, where, you know, he looks to set traps. But then he believes too, Crawford. That's what makes that would be an intriguing fight for me, because that son of a gun, he believes too. When it gets down to it, to being a junkyard dog, man, he could bite with the best of them. Because you try to take something from him, he'll say, you know what, I like to control range, I like to be out of here, I like to counter, I like to have it my way, just like you guys like to have a buffet and all things when I hope he puts some food out for you guys.
And Raphael, a prominent boxing analyst, has also shared his detailed thoughts on the potential fight between Terence Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez. Raphael emphasized that this is one of the most anticipated matchups in boxing, given both fighters' status as pound-for-pound stars. He highlighted the significance of the bout, noting that it would be a true test of Crawford's ability to compete at the super middleweight level against a formidable opponent like Canelo. Raphael pointed out that Crawford's move up 2 weight divisions to face Canelo would be a monumental task. He acknowledged Crawford's exceptional skill set and versatility, but also stressed the challenges posed by Canelo's size, strength, and experience at 168 lbs.
Ever said he wanted to fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree, but it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance, and he was asked about it, and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, you know, in a big time.
In terms of strategy, Atlas discusses how Crawford's ability to move, make adjustments, and fight from different angles could pose serious problems for Canelo, who is accustomed to dictating the pace of a fight. Crawford could employ a strategy of movement and counterpunching, working to neutralize Canelo's aggression. Atlas mentions the possibility of Crawford using his speed, footwork, and ring IQ to outpoint Canelo over the course of 12 rounds, though he concedes that Canelo's power remains a serious threat. However, Atlas warns against getting carried away with the belief that Canelo's size and power would automatically guarantee a victory over Crawford. He cautions fans not to overlook Crawford's ability to make adjustments and handle different styles of opponents. Atlas points out that Crawford has faced powerful opponents before and has been able to adjust and win convincingly. He believes Crawford's adaptability, combined with his superior boxing skills, could give him the tools to neutralize Canelo's strengths. Despite this, Atlas recognizes the threat that Canelo presents. Canelo's aggressive nature, coupled with his world-class boxing ability, makes him a dangerous fighter for anyone. Atlas also acknowledges that Canelo may have the edge in terms of big fight experience, which could play a role in how the fight unfolds. Ryan Garcia expressed his appreciation for Teddy Atlas's efforts in organizing significant boxing events, acknowledging the impact they've had on the sport. He's making a lot of great fights happen, and you can't really hate on that, Garcia stated, commenting.
As we know, the fighters know the intel before the news gets released to the public. King Ryan was asked about Canelo Crawford. He not only says he can't believe they got that fight done, meaning that that's a done deal. We obviously knew that, but he also gives you who he thinks wins that fight, Canelo or Crawford. Do you agree with Ryan Garcia?
Right.
What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's going to be a great fight, too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter.
It's exciting to see how things are shaping up. These matchups bring energy to boxing and keep fans engaged. Garcia's remarks highlight his respect for efforts to promote the sport while sparking intrigue about the potential bout, leaving fans eager for more official announcements. Mal interview. Fight Hub TV interviewed the former 4-division world champion during his visit to Hamburg, Germany for the WBC convention. The reporter mentioned the WBC president's statement, where he expressed a desire to organize a Canelo-Crawford fight. After a brief pause, Mikey Garcia commented, "I'm not a big fan of that fight. His primary concern was the significant weight difference between Crawford and CaneloAlvarez. Before Crawford moved up to 154 lbs, the disparity was equivalent to 3 weight classes." Garcia's brother also pointed out how Crawford seemed to struggle against Israel Madrimov during their title fight in Los Angeles, despite Crawford's exceptional skills. Garcia believes that the size difference would be the decisive factor in such a matchup. The Mexican superstar's power and size would likely give him the advantage. While acknowledging Crawford's remarkable career, Garcia reiterated, "That's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he needed to, from 140 to 147 to now 154. That's even greater for him." Garcia opined that if Crawford wanted to challenge himself further, he could aim for the unified or undisputed route in his current division. However, he added a caveat, "But there's no money in that." Mikey Garcia shared a similar opinion about CaneloAlvarez. He recognized that a fight between Canelo and Crawford would generate significant revenue, but as a boxing fan, he doesn't favor the matchup. He would rather see Alvarez fight opponents within his weight class or above, like Artur Beterbiev. He wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 lbs again, and test it.
There are too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish from 140, 147, now 154. That's even greater for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to the Canelo fight, and Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point it's more of a big fight for the money that's gonna generate. But as a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Beterbiev or Revolt again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again, and challenge himself against those guys. not a smaller guy moving down.